going to do a shape on his beard, including his moustache. We're going to take the edge off and we're just going to finish it with a blade. Okay, so the things that you need to be looking out for during the session are contraindications, critical influencing factors. Contraindications stop you from carrying out a service. Critical influencing factor is something that affects the way that you're actually going to work. So growth patterns, colours, beards, and just the general length and shape that the guy's actually got, the natural shape that's there. Okay, so the plan is I'm going to go through and show you a tapered beard. Frank's grown this especially for us, so it has to come off today because he's doing his head in. Okay, what I'm going to do is, because I'm going to actually go through the a correct process with you as well. Okay. I cut his hair a couple of weeks ago, so obviously there's lots of things that we need to be looking at. So if I'm going to go through it theory-wise, you have to do for your theory, for your practical assessment, you have a tapered beard, a full beard line, moustache and eyebrows. So I can cover 2, maybe 3 of those things today. What I'm going to show you as well is, which is the thing that I'm not really supposed to show you, but I know that you're all advanced enough to be able to deal with it. I'm actually going to shape him up properly with a blade, soap and bristles, just so that you understand the process and how different it actually is to just going over it and finishing it. So when he's finished, it'll look like, it'll be very, very smart, very clean. Okay?
Is the moustache covered in the beard?
Nope, your moustache is a standalone moustache. Okay, I'll go through all of it as I start to work through it, because there's some areas that when you're doing facial hair you've got to be very, very careful of, because you're working around someone's nose, and that this piece here and their lip is very, very sensitive. Okay, and the clippers can get worn if you're working with the detailers, and secondly it is a really, really fine piece of skin and you've got to be very, very careful that you don't catch it, because we don't want to hurt him and cause any reason for infection to come in. Okay, so what sort of things do you think I'd be looking for?
Warts, moles, if you don't want to chop it off.
Absolutely. What would I do if we did find something like that?
Go around it.
So is it a contra or a critical influencing factor? Critical influencing factor, well done. What else would I be looking for?
Skin tags.
Skin?
Tags.
Skin tags, yeah, definitely skin tags. Let's go for other things now, come on.
Growth patterns.
Growth patterns. Men have growth patterns in their beard just as much as they would have in their hair, if not more. You'll get guys who can't fill a beard because they don't get any facial hair growing down here. Frank's beard is very, very deep. Now obviously once I start a consultation I'm going to ask him where we're taking that to, because some guys like to bring it right up. If we're going to do that, that would be then classed as a full beard outline. If we were going to leave all of this, it would be tapered because I'd taper it up. Yeah, does that make sense? So it's all about what your client's requirements are. It's about clarification, confirmation of what they want, okay? So let's get going with our consultation, shall we? So, what's the first thing that I'm going to do before I start doing the consultation? Go right back to basics and think about what we're going to do.
Wash your hands.
I've already washed my hands are washed. I am going to, in a minute, go through my normal OCD ritual in any minute. Okay. So, I'm going to gown him up. He needs to be gowned up in a specific way when you're doing facial hair. Yeah, I'm going to gown him up. I'm not going to go neck roll because this was washed last night. In case it's nice and clean.
Just took it up his nose, didn't it?
Eh?
Torture.
Yeah, it all got cleaned last night, okay? So I'm going to gown him up without neck roll, which I shouldn't do, but I'm going to do because I know everything's clean. The other thing that you need to do when you're doing facial hair, I'm obviously going to recline him, which I'll show you how to do. Obviously you need to work out what height your client needs to be for you. Remember?
Do you recline before you do the consultation?
No, not until I do my consultation, because at the moment I'm obviously looking and I'm talking through you. Now I can see he's got a very, very dense beard underneath here. You can actually see it's exactly the same as your hair. You're looking for light and dark. Lightness tells us what?
It's less.
It's less. It's what's the correct terminology for it?
Shorter.
No. Think of the forest.
Sparse.
Sparse. It's sparser. So this is very dense, isn't it? So there's more density within that hair. Facial hair grows on average 1.25 centimetres a month, just like your hair. However, if you all want to be bored to death, and I can show you a PowerPoint that I've done this week for a demonstration next week, it's actually been proven in a Darwinian theory thing that's just been done that guys, their beards depend on the growth of where they are and what they're doing. Man was put on a desert island for 4 weeks. They measured his beard growth for those 4 weeks. 3 days before he knew he was going back into civilization, his beard stopped growing. And they say it's all because of what goes on in our psyche and stuff, so it's quite interesting. Okay? So, what sort of shape are you looking to have?
I think I'll have it tapered in. I don't want
You want
a
to
clean
taper?
line.
Okay,
So
yeah.
just
How far do you want me to taper it up? About under your chin there,
yes,
do you think?
yeah, yes.
Okay, is that alright?
Yep.
This shape at the sides, what we're looking at, do you want me to shape it so it's really quite tight and clean?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Right, there's not too many growth patterns in there actually. There's one that comes down from his sideburn. Obviously that's something else that you really need to think about when you're working with a guy who's got a facial hair and hair. If you're doing a haircut and facial hair at the same time, it has to blend, it has to flow. It's very, very easy if you've done a haircut to put a line in a beard. If you put a line in a beard, you will struggle to get it out because it's very, very coarse hair. It's different to the hair on your head, obviously. It's a different type of hair. So I'm going to clean this all up, make it really nice and clean. I shall bring it down and clean all this up as well, so all of this will be gone. Okay? So it's only a couple of weeks since he had his hair cut, so his hair's not due to be cut yet. There's some different colours in his beard. What do you think is the strongest colour that comes through in beard growth?
Ginger.
Ginger. How many guys do you see with ginger beards? It's very, very strong. Do you know why that is? Come on, you're hairdressers. What's in our hair?
Think about why it's called.
Why it's red. Why is red the strongest colour that comes through?
Why is it strong?
It's the strongest melanin. Out of the colours that come through, red is the strongest one. That's why you can get kids who've got parents with dark hair and all of a sudden they get red hairs because their parents carry a lot of the red colouring pigment in their hair. Okay, so I'm going to gain him up. He's comfortable. I'm going to make all this different for him in a minute. Something else that you need to be very, very aware of when you're doing facial hair is that we actually put damp iPads, and not iPads like Apple iPads, obviously, damp cotton wool pads onto their eyes. Now you must do this when you're doing an assessment, and as we go through it you'll understand why. But why do you think? Just guessing. Yeah, because it's absolutely razor sharp. You get a piece of this hair in your eye, in your skin, it will embed very, very quickly and it hurts. So it's for your client's comfort, for your comfort, but you will know about it if you do. And what's really interesting is as you start to work and they start to flick up, you'll actually see them landing onto the cotton wool pad, so that's not going in your client's eyes. Keep it clean as you go in, I'll obviously keep working as I go in. And that's about all, I think. Tash, are we just shaping that underneath line up your tash?
Yes.
Are you going to grow it to a twiddly one?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, that's disappointing. Okay, so I'll show you when I get there. When I get into this stuff, you're going to have to get up and get in and watch because it is really intricate and delicate. Probably going to use my detailers and guide some of the detailers on most of this to take it in. That's the question I haven't asked, not to Julie. How much are we actually taking off?
I kind of want it shortish, tidy.
So it's nice and tight?
Nice and tight.
Yeah, okay. So the same process as with your clippers. They've all been soaking in here overnight. You get little tiny attachments for your detailers that are just like your clippers. They're all marked up with... They're all going to fall out. They're all marked up with how much, what length they're going to take off. So you've got, I think there's a 0.5, a 1 and a 1.5. Yeah, so I've got a half, 1.5 and a 1. So I've got all three there. Exactly the same process. When you start doing this, when you're not feeling that confident, just like I showed you with your hair last week, just run that clipper guide up through the beard and it'll show you how much is going to come off. That's quite a long one. So I'm going to go down. I'm going to start with a 1 and we'll check and see if Frank's happy with that. We can always take it shorter, that should be okay, but we'll have a look. Okay, so here goes the OCD ritual, ladies. Why am I doing that?
So he knows you're clean.
So he knows I'm clean. Tells him that everything in front of him tells him that I'm very, very conscious of the fact that I don't want to cross-infect, cross-contaminate, and it's when you get into facial hair you've got to be very, very careful because this is when damage can be done if you don't do it properly. Okay. saw comb out, so you need your little tiny MC comb, the one that bends. Why do you think we're going to use this one? Because it bends. It does that. I think one of these days I'm going to do that and it's going to break and Nick's always doing it. Okay. Just like hair, it should be shampooed, conditioned and moisturised to beard. My son spends a fortune on beard and stuff, shampoo and oils, because he's got one of these big beards, and the only way to create these really big beards that are really in fashion at the moment is to beard oil them when they're clean and shampooed. It's hair, it needs to be clean, and don't forget there's skin under here, and if you're not cleaning your beard, what aren't you doing to the facial hair? There's the skin underneath it, you're not cleaning it. And the challenge is when people take their beards off, they have a lot of very big open pores, because obviously there's been nothing to protect it, so you've got to be very careful. Okay, I'm just going to comb it down just like I would use a tiny end of a little comb. Just all the time checking for which way it grows, how it grows. It's got a lovely growth pattern here, ladies. Look at that one. Curls back up on itself. There, so it's got a little curl underneath, so I have to be aware of that when I'm working. Okay, so I'm ready to go now. Get your client just to lean just a little bit forward for me. This is really important when you do this, that he's comfortable, that you're comfortable. So put the headrest up where you think it's going to be. Chair drops down. Just stay behind me. You've got to make sure that he's absolutely comfortable, and so are you. Okay, come back to me now. Okay, a good guide for this is that his shoulders are now sitting clean on the back of that chair, and his head is central. Are you comfortable there? Yep. I'm going to make you grow now, okay? This is where your muscles come in, ladies, so get to the gym. Why are you laughing? This is when it can be quite embarrassing as a girl. Honestly, this is what you have to get over. Because you really are in somebody's personal space when you're doing this. Hence, smell fabulous here, as usual. I need to go to the gym, legs hurting now. What sort of height do you think we need to have him at? I need to be so I'm comfortably working, because you're going to be doing a lot of stretching, so he's not quite where I need him to be yet. Okay. Yep. Obviously lock and load the chair, because the last thing that you want to happen while you're doing this is for him to start swinging around, because you're going to put quite a lot of force into what you're doing. Okay, so that's locked and loaded, that's not going to move now until I'm ready to move it. Okay, so I'm going to start with a one attachment. They just click on, they fit on, and we're going to go through the same. Oh no, we're not, because what have I forgotten to do? What have I not done? I just told you about 5 minutes ago. I've not put any iPads on yet. Okay, so the knives, they're not really wet. Best thing to do is for your client to close his eyes and relax. Nice, so just put your eyes too, and just put those iPads down onto his eyes. They're not going to fall off if you've got him in the right position. They're not going to fall off. If you've got him too high up, they will fall off, because obviously he's almost horizontal now. Frank is usually horizontal, but you know. Okay. So I've cleaned up, I've sprayed up, I'm all ready to go. Which way do you think I'm going to start working? Pardon? No, I'm actually going to work up with it to start with, because I want to fade it up into that. If I was to go downwards, I probably wouldn't get quite a tight fade. Oh no, I'm not going to start there. There's two ways you could do this, because I'm not going to put a really hard line in his beard. If I was putting a full beard in, I would actually physically do, I'll show you how to do it. I'd actually go in. Okay, you ready for me to start now? Okay, you see what I'm doing? I'm actually going to put a line into that beard, just relax yourself. So the bit that I know I'm definitely taking off, just very gently, just as if I was putting a pattern in somebody's hair. Can you see I've now created a line in that beard? So that gives me a guide, because all that's going to go. I'm taking that all off. Obviously you need to make sure, just like with anything else that we do, that optically this is straight. Good way if you're struggling with that is to get some of the bedroll that the beauty therapists use. When you're checking after, you can wrap it round and it actually reflects the light back up and it actually shows you the line of what you've done. Okay? So all that under that beard, I'm just going to take off. I'm going to go over it afterwards with a blade. Okay, now that hair is growing in that direction, so which way am I going to take it? Anybody? I'm going with it. Very, very gently. I'm not pulling skin yet, but obviously as you get towards the Adam's apple, you do need to pull where skin. So I've just done a tiny little bit of tension on that skin. Why am I pulling that skin away from his Adam's apple, ladies? Yeah, it's basically so that I can clear it without going on the Adam's apple, without hurting him. So now coming this way, start at the other side. Again, working down with that hair, so we're not pulling or anything. So any details need to be banged on and looked after really well, because if they're not, they will pull. Skin is very, very tender on a gent's face, just like it is on ours. You okay, Frank? Constant reassurance. Obviously this is a nice quiet thing. You need to be concentrating. This isn't when you're talking about what they're going to be doing at the weekend. Okay, so I've just put that basic line in now. Sorry. Just flick everything off just to keep an eye. Now can you see I've put a nice, that's where I'm going to taper up from, does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to get a number 1 guide now for the detailers. Clip it on, make sure it's nice and secure. These are pretty good really because they've got little clips on, you can actually physically hear it click and you know you're on and safe. Unlike clippers that have a nasty habit of falling off. Just put it slightly to the side there. Okay, I'm just going to work up, see what I'm doing now, I'm stretching his skin now because I'm going in and it goes right in underneath. And just like you would with your normal clippers, I'm doing the flick very, very gently. Just go slowly, take it slowly. Okay, stretch the skin upwards. If you decide to do level 3 barbering, obviously you then go into the cutthroat razor. There's 13 moves when you're using a cutthroat razor that you have to learn and have them off pat, the way you stretch your skin and all the different moves and stuff. So now I'm working with all the hair growth patterns now that are showing themselves to me as I start to take the hair off. So I'm going very slowly, very gently now so that I can see I'm not missing any. And I'm going to create the shape that we want. Okay. So that growth pattern comes this way now, yeah? So as I'm working underneath that to taper that up and out, I'm only going very, very slowly. Just like I've told you with the clippers, just use the top end if you're working on something very small, because that way, if you do make a mistake, you're only going to be working with a very small area that you need to correct. Anybody got any questions while I'm doing this? No questions? Keep the area clean. Can you see the difference already? Are we starting to fade it up? Yes? No?
Yes.
Let's pop the head into the centre. And start on the other side now. Sorry, Emma.
Sorry.
So you start at the sideburn. I'm flipping this, I'm just blending the sideburns up. I can always, when I'm finished, obviously because we're barbers and we know what we're doing, by the time you finish, you sometimes will just go back over his ear. So it's like, takes it 10 days since we put your hair.
I think so.
Okay, really strong growth pattern here that we need to look at. Can you already see the iPads? They're already starting to get hair on them, so that would be catastrophic if that went in your client's eyes. The theory of this is very, very similar to the theory of cutting hair, you know, but we're looking for all the same things out. We're looking for contrast criticals, all the things that would affect haircut is very, very similar when you're working on beards. Okay, I'm just bringing it up just under the jawline now. Just bring it up. I'm just going to turn it off, and what I'm going to do now, I'm going to change my guide and I'm going to go up to a 1.5 now. Because I'm going to start tapering and blending that up into his top beard now, okay? Can you see already that the difference in your colours are starting to change? That is now very, can you see you've got very light and it goes up into very obvious dark. We're now going to taper the dark out. Very, very similar to a faded haircut, if you were fading a haircut. Stretch the skin. Very, at the moment, a lot of the lads are growing, like I just asked Frank before, the moustaches that start to twist. If you were doing that, you've got to be very careful because that part there is actually, would be part of their twisting moustache. So just be very, very careful. What I've been doing a lot is with these lads is just literally doing an undercut on their lip and the rest of their moustache is growing so that they can oil it up into the shape that they want. Very fashionable. You could be, also need to be thinking about looking at aftercare and home care for your clients' beards. There's a lot of products out on the market. My favourite one is a product, it's called Apothecary 87 the make. Oh, that's not how you say it. It's the old-fashioned word for chemist, isn't it? Apothecary. It is. 87, I know it is. I'm just not saying it properly. And basically this guy's got one of the top beard models in the UK, a guy called Chris John Millington, who you do need to Google where it is. Chris John Millington.
Is he fit?
Oh, he's lovely. Young enough to be my son. And they've just created a range, and these ranges are so that you smell like a man, not like a girl, basically. There's all different smells. But what the beard oil actually does, it not only helps the beard and to shape the beard, but it's conditioning the skin underneath the beard as well. Okay. I think the standards say, and I've never done it, so I would have to check, that you're supposed to wear goggles when you do this. Yeah, like that's going to happen. But you need to check, I'll check the standards, not that I will make you wear a pair of goggles because it's just a bit ridiculous, isn't it? But did you just watch me then as I knew they were coming towards me because you can hear them? I just probably pulled a typical deal with this and I closed my eyes. That was a bit like when I was doing my bike licence. The guy said to me, "You've got to stop closing your eyes, Julie, it's really dangerous." When I'm scared, I shut my eyes. Not good when you're on a motorbike, that. I think that was the day I decided, actually, I don't want to do this. I think I'm safer on 4 wheels than on 2. I'm going to stick to being a Klingon. Can you see now, there's different lengths gone in that, but that colour is now coming up. And it looks, even though there's different lengths in it now, it actually appears to be all the same length. But facial hair is very, very fashionable at the moment, be it 5 o'clock shadow or a proper big American, what do you call the guys that, what do you call them, people who, the lumberjacks have big beards. Very cultural as well. If you look into it, it's incredibly cultural. And one of the things that I found out doing the research that I've just done recently is that when you go online and start Googling them, the guys that are like in their 20s that are wearing these big beards, they all look very much the same, even though they want to be different. They're inked, they've got these big beards and they've got a real sort of individual way of being dressed. It's making a statement, isn't it, really? And I really wish that I had a pair of some pockets in the pants. It's very clean shaven now, isn't it? Even though it's still there and it's still longer. What would you use at home, Frank, if you were looking after it at home?
I've generally just used, you know, general shaver, and it's got a bit of a trimmer on, hasn't it?
Oh, right, yeah.
So you just trim it down.
Same one that you did on your hair?
No, that's another. I haven't used them before though, the clippers. But the clippers are quite messy, so I don't use them as much
Right.
on the beard.
Because they're tight, they won't be as tight, will their heads aren't as tight. Do you want to create like a shape there, or do you want that bit underneath your lip gone, or what would you like?
I'll have a shape actually.
A shape, put a shape into it.
Mm.
Anybody ever guess what that bit would be shape-wise, what they call it? It's a funny name, you wouldn't probably expect it. That shape that I'm going to create it's called a stiletto beard. Google stiletto beards and you'll see what I mean. Right, now can you see, looking at those iPads, why I've put those things on his eyes? All those hairs would be in his eyes, yeah. Right, so the bulk of that job is now done. Now it's all the shaping up and the polishing that we need to do. I'm just going to change my clipper guide again. Just going to go over his moustache with an attachment on first, just to take some of the bulk off it. Right, this is where it gets a bit funny now, because what you've got to do is you've got to start stretching, and if you've got a beard like Paul's as an example, where he's got a lot of hair here, they have to actually physically get them to make faces. That makes sense? They're boys, they shave and look after their beards all the time, so they'll do it naturally. But obviously as a girl, we don't shave. Well, some of us don't, some of us do, some of us don't. No. Because you're pushing that skin out, otherwise you wouldn't get at it. Or they pull their top lip down like that. Just, you know, we put mascara on and we're going, yeah? Boys do that when they're shaving. Okay, so I'm just going to run over this just to take some sort of stretch his skin. And I'll come back to that bit in a minute. Okay? Okay. Okay, what your standards ask and accept, what you need to do for your standards is now you would use a pair of detailers to make sure that all these edges are done. So I'll detail it first and then I'll show you how to do it with an open blade. Clipper side doesn't cool it down as much as this does. Okay, it's just something that Andy's put together to make sure it does. Okay, so T-bars, if you've got T-bars, sorry Anna.
Oh yeah.
We're clever. Okay.
So that's a steriliser and
it's everything that oils, it sterilises and it cools. It's called Cool Care by Andis. Okay, just get your client again just to tip their face. And all I'm going to do is with the very, very edge of that T, I'm just going to roll up the side just to take any happen off that edge. Up into his hairline, because remember we need to make it look very, very clean. If you were doing patterning in hair, I know you guys aren't, but it's very, very similar to patterning. When I learnt to do this, we weren't allowed to go into patterns until we got these shapes on the face right, because in principle they're the same shapes. They're your curved lines and your straight lines. You create a curved line that will optically look straight. You know, you guys do a concave bob. It's the same principle. Put the head down, you put it up, it looks straight, but you've cut it with that concave and it facial hair is the same. Okay, so again, this is when you get used to being able to twist and change and up and down. That's why you remember that you don't need to hold them like there's no tomorrow. Again, I'm just working on that very, very tiny top bit there, so it's on a slight angle, just to clean the area up. Anybody got any questions? You're all very quiet today. When you're doing a real shape-up on a real haircut, it's really important that you constantly check in once you start, because you don't want to end up with two completely different sides. Keep the area clean, because otherwise you'll think that you've got hairs there that aren't actually there, because you've been moving just that they've pinned up. Alright?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the other side, do the other side leg. And then quick and seal like that, they're not getting hot on your skin.
They're quite warm, but they're not
Just pass me that close. Because when you're doing it like this, it takes longer than it normally is. Just ask, you know, just keep checking. Some guys will just go, some guys will actually go to sleep when you're doing this.
Nothing will go to sleep, that noise.
The noise is making you want to go to sleep.
Sorry.
I'm going to go in onto his moustache now, so you need to be watching what I do. It's not a lot to come off, but just be really, really aware now, because it's his lip and it's his... Just stretch his skin a little bit, and again, just the very, very top, go in on an angle, and just let it roll across the top of his lip. Does that make sense? I'm going to make the shape at the bottom. You don't need to do a lot, because obviously it's quite sparse as it's going down, so we just want to cut. Just hold that for me. Thank you. Stretch the skin and be very, very gentle now. Okay, so now you need to stop what you're doing. You need to look and assess, are you happy with what you've done? Main thing is your client going to be happy with what you've done. That's the main thing, obviously, that your client's happy with what you've done. Again, exactly the same when you're cutting hair, you're looking for light and dark, yeah? Again, this is when it doesn't become optical anymore, it now becomes your neck sensitive that kicks in, and it's actually your hearing, because now you're listening for what's coming off as you're rolling those details across the face. Sometimes it can be nothing, and other times you let a little bit go, and that's a little bit that would grow and quicker than the rest. Okay, so I've covered there three of the things that you guys need to do for your level 2 qual. Pardon? Right, it's really important that when you do this is one of the things that obviously now we're going on to shake and grind now, because you don't need to do this. It's always a badger brush. You alright?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just getting a towel. Always a badger brush. When you're putting any kind of shaving foam onto a man's skin, for any kind of reason, you pull the skin and you go in a circular movement. Do you know why?
To lift the hair up off the skin.
Absolutely, and it's getting in under the pores. This stuff that I'm using now has got a pre-shave in it, which actually puts like an oil onto the skin. I'm doing this, I know I'm not doing a proper shave for him, but the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want to drag or give his skin any kind of problems. You watch these adverts with Gillette razors and stuff, and the guys have always got a face full of shaving foam. The most important bit that guys tend to miss, because I bet 9 times out of 10 a guy will go into the bathroom, he's going to shave, he'll chuck a bit of water on his face, and then he puts his shaving foam on and shaves, and they wonder why they get a shaving rash. It's because they've not physically prepared the skin properly to do it. Okay. If you were doing a proper cutthroat shave, you'd have had hot towels and everything on to open the pores to make it easier to glide across the skin. Okay. Are you ready? Where do I put my blade first? Do you remember what I told you?
91.
No. First of all, you're going at 90, because 90 does what? It'll just take no hair off, it'll just glide across the skin. And I go to what, Teal?
91.5.
That's right, and 91.5 will start to take the hair off. If I go to 180, skinned. Okay, really important now. Did you watch my stance just change? I've just changed exactly where I want to be, and I really am going into his intimate space now, okay? So skin is stretched, and I'm only going to use the top of the blade. And I'm just following that line. I'm starting to sweat now. Just turn the blade round now. Keep stretching that skin. See the difference already that finish that you've got? At level 2 you're not expected to finish like this, it's not asked of you, but because you're all at level 3 hairdressing wise, I think that you're all very, very capable of understanding why I've just done what I've just done. Okay, now's the bit I'm going in down the side of the ear. Did you need to? Okay, just change the shape of the blade again. And again, my stance has changed and I'm going in. And I'm just going to use the very, very edge of that blade. Is that pulling that blade?
It's okay.
Blade. There's some, on Barbie's Blades, there's some really good shaving kits at the minute and they're on offer.
You're telling me that.
Oh no, you'll be on Barbie's
We'll be
Blades getting
divorced
into
next
trouble
week.
again. They've got all the skincare products and everything in them. They're about 30 quid a shop. What, you just pull your face out?
Everyone should sit down and then when you so thick, when you scroll it out.
That's cheap. They retail like 60 quid. Obviously, when you're working with a blade, you need to be really careful of any little spots or anything like that, because if you take the top off, it's going to hurt. You see the finish now that we're starting to create?
How far do you go down if their beard goes into their chest?
Depends how close you are to them, I guess.
Go that far.
No.
I've seen some.
Some guys will do that themselves. Not many guys would ask you to do that. You'll get the odd one that when you're doing their neck hairs and stuff like that, because I finish neck hairs a lot with a blade. They'll undo their shirt and move their shirt forward for you. But there is a line where we have to stop, Emma.
Sort of like there, the collarbone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tend to go just below the back of the shirt. Because give them an inch and I'll take a mile. See the difference now between the side that I finished with the blade and the side that I finished with the details? Can you see the difference? How much cleaner that line is that I've got going in there? If you were doing this properly, and you can charge for this, obviously, using warm towels, hot towels, all kinds of things, and you can throw a bit of a massage in for them as well, make them feel really special. And charging for it. It's all about the money, isn't it? It's always about the money. Okay, full stretch. Whenever you do anything like this, the first time you go in with that blade, even that you've just done that side, always go there first and then turn it to where you need to go. Obviously you don't want to go into the shape of that beard because we've already just shaped that all up. What am I going to do with this blade when I've finished?
Chuck it away.
Where am I going to chuck it?
In that yellow bin.
Which is called what?
Shorts.
The shorts bin. Where do I want to put it?
What you what?
Where do I want to put it?
In the bin.
What don't I do with it otherwise?
Reuse it.
Reuse it, ever use anything that you've done this with. Easiest way of spreading what? What am I doing? What was it called? Barber's what?
Itch.
What's the proper word for it? Barber's itch.
Where you get the rash.
Psychosis, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Trying to spell it.
Well, I've taken to writing Barbie these days. Don't be tempted to keep going over the same part again either. Again, sensory kicks in, your hearing sensory kicks in because your hearing will tell you how much you're taking off. You alright, Frank?
Mm-hmm.
You can breathe now, you know.
I trust you.
Right, you see that finish now, how different it is? I haven't got any hot water in the building, would you believe? because I put a blade on his skin now, obviously his skin pores are open. What I'm going to do is, just to seal that, lots of different products that you can use.
Cleansers and toners.
Pardon?
Do you know like cleansers and toners and things?
It is very similar to that. All it does, it may sting a little bit. I'll have all the girls chasing me around down here this afternoon. When I want to know why you smell like that.
Story that way.
Anything with alcohol in it?
Yeah, because it closes the pores down. Okay, I'm ready to set up now. Okay, just the same as if you've had your legs waxed or anything like that, you get your clients to sit slowly because you've had them in that reclined position. Okay, so let's have a look now. Let's look in the mirror. Let's use our optical. See, we've created that shape, but he's now got his little baby stiletto that he's going to have to grow into this bit here or colour it in. And he's got a nice, clean, tapered neckline coming up. Let's unlock him so you can all have a look. Can you all do that now? So honestly and truly, ladies, it will be the scariest thing that you ever do in barbering to start with the first time you do it, and I guarantee you that. The boys are the same, only the boys are a bit more confident about it because they know how to look after it themselves. Is that okay? Yeah? Yeah, just like me. All I want to do now, and this is just something that I tend to do, I just want to blend those with a pair of scissors just a little bit. Let's go back to my baby comb, tie it in. I'm just going to blend it, I'm just going to scissor over comb it, just to give me a really nice, straight, professional finish. And it also gives your client it's just being professional, it's just being very, like polishing things. Call it OCD, call it what you like. Okay, is that shape okay for you, Frank?
That's great.
So all you do now is, I would now just double check that I've got everything off. So he's still got a little bit down there, so we just need to clean him up first. Just get your details again and just without a guide on. Again, this is the opportunity just to check ears, backs and necks, that everything's where it should be. What I would do with his ears, if he hasn't got hairs in his ears because he's very young and he's not got to that age yet.
Oh yeah.
My poor old dad says the hairs stop growing on his head, but it grows out of his ears instead these days. My dad has 2 white ones and they just go. And sometimes I won't even cut his hair, I'll just cut his ears. Okay, if your client did have ear hairs, obviously check with them first, because you would shock a man to death if all of a sudden you just went whoop. Because it's the noise, you put that up next to your ear, it's very, very like, you just literally go in with the top, pull his ear back and just, I'm not going to do it because it will, if I was to do it now, I would actually make them start to grow. Eyebrows are the same, guys' eyebrows. The first time you cut a guy's eyebrows, without a doubt you will cut them every 6 weeks because they just go bang as soon as you start doing it. And again, he's young, he hasn't got any problem with his eyebrows. Our Ringo Starr here. Okay, so you took it off. So if you wanted to check if you weren't confident at the minute, you can just get yourself some bed rolls, isn't it white? Same thing, get yourself at the mirror. Have a check. Okay, fair.
Fantastic.
Happy with that?
Lovely.
There we go.